Israel is a small country, yet its influence on global politics stretches far beyond its borders. How a nation with fewer than 10 million people has become one of the strongest diplomatic and strategic focus of our time. Let's break down how that happened and what it means for the world around us. To understand this influence, we have to go back to 1948, the moment Israel declared independence. The United States recognized it within minutes. That single act set the tone for a relationship that has lasted more than 7 decades. In the years after World War II, Western leaders carried deep sympathy for the Jewish people after the horrors of the Holocaust. That sympathy evolved into political support and after into full scale strategic partnership. During the Cold War, Washington viewed Israel as a loyal outpost of Western influence in a region full of uncertainty. By the 1970s, US military aid had become a permanent feature of policy. Today, Israel receives around $3.3 billion in annual assistance, the largest cumulative amount ever given to any country. You see, this isn't just generosity. Much of that money flows straight back to American defense companies that build the jets and missiles Israel buys. So it's a loop, a system where both countries strengthen each other. Now let's move to the political side. In Washington, influence doesn't only happen in Congress, it is also shaped by lobbying. The best known group is APAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. APEC operates legally, organizing major conferences, meeting lawmakers, and helping direct millions of dollars into election campaigns every cycle. Critics say this gives Israel supporters outsized influence. Supporters reply that it's simply how democracy works. Every industry, from health to energy, has its lobby. Either way, the outcome is clear. Few issues unite Democrats and Republicans the way support for Israel does. When bills on Israel reach the floor, they pass almost instantly. That level of political alignment is rare and powerful. Beyond politics, Israel has built strong roots inside American universities. Dozens of campuses now host Israel studies programs funded by private donors and research foundations. Partnerships with schools like MIT, Stanford, and Harvard promote collaboration in teaching, medicine, and cybersecurity. Pro Israel organizations sponsor fellowships, study trips, and student networks that present Israel narrative. Critics say this shapes how debates on the Middle East unfold on campus. Supporters call it cultural exchange. Either way, the result is visibility. Israel maintains a consistent academic presence, and that helps shape how future policymakers, journalists, and diplomats understand the region. Let's talk about security now. The military and intelligence link between the US and Israel runs deep. They share satellite data, cybersecurity, information, and even test new weapons systems together. The Iron Dome air defense project, developed jointly, has become a global symbol of their relationship. In 2016, the two governments signed a 10-year defense deal worth $38 billion, guaranteeing support through 2028. That's not short term aid, that's institutional commitment. At the same time, Israel has become a global technology hub. Its cybersecurity exports reached about $13 billion in 2023. When governments depend on their technology to protect their systems, they rarely criticize your politics. That is strategic influence at its most modern form. Now, if we move into diplomacy, one fact stands out. Since the 1970s, the United States has used its veto power more than 45 times at the United Nations to block resolutions against Israel. Supporters call this loyalty. Critics say it's a double standard that weakens international law. For Israel, it means protection, a reliable diplomatic shield. And for smaller nations watching from the sidelines, it's a reminder that global rules are often written by power, not by fairness. Let's shift gears to the media world, where perception often defines reality. Israel invests heavily in global communication and public relations. It funds press tours, media centers, and training programs to ensure its side of the story reaches journalists quickly. During any crisis, Israel officials are ready with footage, statements, and messaging within hours. That speed matters. The first story people hear often becomes the one they remember. Palestinian media outlets, by contrast, face limited access and fewer resources. That imbalance gives Israeli a major advantage in shaping early global opinion. It is not hidden control, it is organized communication strategy. If we zoom out now to the global stage, Europe, the Muslim world, and beyond, the picture becomes even more complex. Across Europe, public sympathy often leans toward Palestinians. Yet, European governments maintain strong trade relations with Israel. The EU Israel trade agreement allows special access for Israeli goods, and joint energy projects like the Leviathan gas field tie Europe to Israel's economy. And in the Muslim world, divided positions, Iran remains openly hostile. Turkey and Qatar try to balance criticism with cooperation. And the 2020 Abraham Accords brought formal normalization between Israel and several Arab states. For Israel, these deals mean new legitimacy and business. For Palestinians, many felt it was peace without justice. And for the region as a whole, it proved that economic and security interests often outweigh solidarity. So, what does all this mean? Israel's power didn't appear overnight. It is the product of careful planning, disciplined organization, and long term thinking. They built alliances, invested in research, mastered technology, and learned how to tell their story effectively. That is the formula, not just for survival, but for influence. In today's world, power isn't only about armies or money, it's about credibility, communication, and consistency. The nations that manage those three, they don't just react to world events, they shape them. And maybe that's the biggest takeaway here. Real influence is earned and not demanded. It comes from preparation, unity, and the ability to persuade others with facts, strategy, and confidence. Because at the end of the day, the strongest power any nation can hold is the power to shape the story that the world believes.